Hello, I'm Jon Joe. Welcome to Line War. Today we have Tea, I believe the YouTuber Moist Tea, who does Line War on his channel as well, against me. So I'll leave his link in the description below, as I always do. If anyone does YouTube and I miss it, then feel free to let me know in the videos and I will add their link to the description. So, I start off with a typical start. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 territories, which is what I like to do. I don't like to have all of them anymore. And I've gone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 barracks. This is my infantry rush at its max. Now, I can't really remember this match, okay? So I can't remember how it's played out, because it was about a week or two ago that I played it, I think. So, yeah, this is my infantry rush at its best that I can do. I chose that in case I wanted energy. I noticed there wasn't any energy, and I didn't want to go into the ocean that much. Not yet, anyway. But I thought I might need it later. So, T has decided to go for 3 factories and 2 barracks. I will also point out that I did play T afterwards as a rematch, but I ran out of time and I had to quit early. But I will 100% admit, he was beating me quite easily in that game. I made quite a few mistakes, and T definitely won that match, even if I couldn't play it to the battles. So, I won't show the replay because we didn't really do anything interesting, but he definitely took me out in certain locations that I needed to be in pretty early on. So, T has started an engagement here. He's trying to spread out his units a bit more so they come in more of a line shape so they can take me on in greater numbers. I've just got 2 massive lines to do it. And to stop them trying to stop at this territory and take it, or this one, I've changed them to arrow commands so that they get there faster. There's 2 different approaches there, kind of, to do the same thing, really. I do end up surrounding him a little bit, but he does seem to have a bit more units there. But he's got quite a few weakened units. A few units have died in general, so I'm not really sure who had more numbers there, but I've got more reinforcements coming in. So I don't mind taking a couple of losses. I can take these losses. He can't. Not when it comes to eco, because he hasn't got much to expand with. He's got a shipyard there that's going to try and produce some boats. I can see that he's got commanders going that way to try and take over the territories there. But that's part of the reason why I like my infantry rush. It only works on one island, and I can see with this map, this is Seed 6, so there's one big long island, and there's 2 decently sized islands either side. You definitely want to control the middle island to control either of the other islands where your enemy isn't. But I noticed he's got a large force. I spot the artillery. I bring some units back because I need a bigger force to take out these artillery. Do the same on this side as well. Before I know what's going on over there, I probably could have snuck a couple of units round. You know, try and get a blue line going around that way. That's probably something I should have done. But I was more worried about keeping a strong force on my front line. This is a choke point. If I lose control over it, he's won this part. He does have quite a lot of artillery at this point in the game. I did think he went into a lot of factories early on, which you know, I suppose he did. I mean, we're only at 5 minutes into the game. But I assumed he didn't actually go by water yet. I assumed he focused attacking me as early as possible. But I've got quite a large line. I'm blocking him from getting through. That's my plan right now. And I was quite concerned at this point. But I am just trying to shape my units up. I'm sending my units in different locations, trying to fill in the gaps as much as possible. But I know that artillery costs a lot more than infantry do, so I can keep on filling up this infantry rush right now. He hasn't got too many artillery there, but I can't let them build up. I need to take these artillery out more than the infantry. The infantry will die as I walk through them, which is exactly what's happening. The artillery are the key targets right now. T probably knows this, and he's started to try and move his artillery back. So I pick up the chase, because if he's retreating, he doesn't have enough there. He thinks he can't defend it, so that's what I'm trying to push through on. I make a mistake there, delete it straight away, because I'm usually rushing when I do this. And at this point, I still push them through straight. I don't want to push them all into this forest. I just want to keep a nice, thick line. Because if I can get into this area and then come back in a different angle, I'm happy with that. I also want to take over territory as I'm doing this, because I don't have a lot of territory behind me. So I need to take him out. And he does have a lot of units in this forest. Quite a few artillery here, and they're going to be able to take on my infantry quite well, but infantry do have a bonus in the forest. However, I can't really see what's going on too much. Not at first, anyway, not until I got in the forest. And at that point, it's an all for nothing. If I retreat, he's getting free damage in on me, and I don't like free damage, unless I'm the one giving it. Anyway, if you like this type of content, my videos or anything like that, if you're new here, then hey, welcome. Why not subscribe and like the video and let me know what you want to see next. I've also got a Discord where you can share your own replays. I noticed that my units were getting weakened here. There was quite a lot going down. So instead of trying to keep up the push, I did end up retreating in the end. And yeah, so Al Mohican can see that. No, sorry, I just watched a match with Al Mohican. T can see that, and he's pushing his units back through again, or at least placing a line in the forest. He's keeping them stealthed as much as possible. He changed his curve. It was curved outward, and he's just changed it to slightly inward. And the reason for that is if I come through here, the firing angles, if it was a bit more curved, it's easier to see, but you could fire in different points in the same location, getting 3 hits on me. Which I can't see that because he's in the forest, so I can just about see that it's a line, but it's hard to see that curve. But it does make a difference. My curves are really wobbly because I don't care at this point, and I keep drawing them and changing them and stuff. So you can see I'm making these short lines, and there's a reason for that as well. Short, I give up, I just go for the attack, but the short lines are there so that I can change them from arrows to flag commands if and when needed. Definitely want the ones further back as flag commands, and probably the ones further forward as arrow commands. I know that I need that. So there you go. For some reason it takes me a little longer to realise what I'm doing, because these units are spreading out over here. I want them on the front here to attack the artillery. It's definitely more important when they got artillery to deal with, because you need a strong force like this. You see these big group of units going in as a wall. They get there and they fire all at the same time, and they're all pretty strong. Only one of them's taking a lot of damage, pretty much. That's the logic there. My main goal right now, although I need the eco later on, I only need it later on. My objective is to be able to get that eco later on. So I try and push through with my infantry, so I've got as many units firing at anything at once. And at this point I'm just trying to pull them in and make as large of a wall as possible to make the artillery advantage with their range as minimal as possible. And I've got some commandos trying to sneak off. Just one barracks producing commandos, which you definitely need when doing an infantry crash. You can't just do infantry for the entire game. You need to try and change it. You need to do something else. So commandos is easiest. You can either set 1 or 2 to be commandos and start building up another force behind the front lines. Because even though I'm building up a lot of pressure here, what if T manages to survive this? I can't remember what actually happens in this game. But what if he does survive this? I need something to fall back on. If he starts attacking me, I've got commandos at the back, I can send them in or something like that, you know? That's what you've got to kind of do. You've got to try and find the weak points, try and make sure you've always got the ability to exploit those weak points. With these infantry right now, I am able to push on through quite heavily, and because the artillery are focused on the areas over here, the infantry here can start taking out the structures. It's not about winning every battle, it's about having so many battles that you can win the right ones. That the enemy can't handle what's going on. It turns the battlefield into chaos, and only you know what you're doing, so you just got to take out what you need to take out. But I don't have a strong force here. They're only infantry units, but I was able to spread out the damage so much that he just couldn't handle it. So, right now, I am right at the front lines here. He doesn't have too much to defend with, and I think, yeah, instead I just target the structures. There isn't enough to fire at me, and if I can take out these structures, he has no more production. I wouldn't recommend doing the strike commands until there is a minimal amount, and you can almost guarantee that you'll take out the structures. If you can take out the structures, future will mean there's less units to deal with. I did spot this shipyard, and I considered sending my commandos that way, but instead I thought if I take up this area, I'm going to be able to send them there anyway. I need to make sure there's nothing coming back later. But what is he doing with that shipyard? Well, he took over this island over here. And instead of letting me destroy this shipyard, he is going to just destroy it himself, so he can get some eco, build up the eco more for this area over here, and start getting ready for a comeback, really. So the shipyard's gone. His structures over here have been destroyed by my infantry rush, which was, I'd say, a little bit of luck in that as well. But he definitely put up one of the strongest fights I've ever had when using this infantry rush. Now, a lot of people talk about the commandos and how commandos are better than the infantry. And I agree. I think commandos are amazing when it comes to the fights and one-on-one. But if I had commandos, the only reason it doesn't work for this tactic, I've just turned off production to increase my eco. I think I've got control. But the reason why I don't use commandos, not in this, like not as my major army, is because I won't have the numbers. The reason I won this fight here was because there was 5, 6, 8 production structures. I can't really remember. There's quite a lot of artillery. If I had commandos, all the artillery would fire on one, minimizing my advantage of having so many units. Commandos are pretty much better in every single way, except for the fact that you can't really use them to outnumber your enemy, and that's what I did here. I caused chaos. I made it very hard for the enemy to know what was going on, and I pushed on through. I lost a few of the battles, which commandos would have won, but I was able to specifically choose the targets I wanted and take on through. So this is why I like the infantry rush. But if it was later in the game, commandos are definitely a better option. And if you're doing little strikes or trying to stealth around the map, commandos are better. When it's taken over territory, I did research on that, and I thought that infantry would be better, and it's not. Commandos are still better. But when it comes to actually playing and fighting someone, the infantry, being so early on, are better because they can outnumber the enemy. So it feels like the commandos and infantry are kind of switched with their purpose here. And I think they are going to make adjustments to that because that's not the intended role of each of them. So we'll have to look into that and see what happens in the future. Anyway, I do have control over this island. I can see there isn't really much going on. I can see a couple of units around. But I feel pretty confident I've taken this island. I saw the shipyard up here, so I know that T took over this island. I don't know if he took over this island, however. I'm pretty sure he didn't. But he could have, because he has one boat. I know that, because he took this island. They could just sneak one unit across down here, and I didn't know if he had done that. But I knew it was important for me to find out. So, when I build a shipyard, I'm not going to build it on this side, because I know there's a threat. Build it over here somewhere. Thinking of how I'd do it now. Yeah, T doesn't own that island. He only owns this island. He only has 3 missile ships. I don't know what his transport boat's gone. He had to have one. Yeah, there it is. He sent stuff down here to get this little island over here. And at this point, I pretty much just try and conquer this island. T isn't on it anymore. So I'm going to speed up the game just to see what happens there. I can't remember if there's like anything going on later on. I know there's something I do. But I don't know what T does. I know I take over this island, or at least try to, and I do wonder if T is there. T's got a commando. Cheeky. So he snuck a commando into my area. Do I even notice that? No, I can't see it, but I'm not searching for it, so I think he got that commando through without me noticing. And he's sneaking it across this part of the map here, through into the mountains, and just south of my main location there. But still, he is on this island. He's building up a load of barracks. He's building up commandos, which is what most people would do nowadays. And that is just to try and capture the territories, because they do capture territories quicker. And it's mostly because they don't outnumber each other. Because when you get so many infantry, they're just chasing each other, and it's not very effective. But when you've got commandos building up that force, take over the territories, they end up building up the capture points required faster. Whether it's using, I can't really remember. I build a sub pen and I send units over by commando. What, I built a navy yard. Oh, I do build one. It's over here. Yeah, I told you I can't remember what happens in this. My memory is terrible. Yeah, I wanted the energy wells. I think that was my objective there. Gone for missile ships because I assume he's gone for destroying his navy yard. I assumed he went for air units. Try and combat whatever I send out towards him. But let's have a quick look at the economy at this point. I know I'm probably ahead because I won the first engagement. So 750 against 380. So unfortunately for T, I did put him in a really bad situation right now. But he is trying to come back. He does have quite a lot of units. He's got energy up and running. Can still move his navy units. He is trying to sneak around the back of this area, which I spot later on, but didn't really know what he was doing. He's managed to get his units from this island. He's going to another island. Yeah, this island. He does try and claim it. And he's building up a navy yard now. And I decide to pretty much go all in on navy units. I've got another energy well like I originally started with, now that I don't need it there, but I feel like it was worth it. If I didn't claim that land there, and I needed it, it would have been a problem. But if I also didn't claim it, I would have more economy to have sent those infantry out further anyway. I'd like to have 4 territory to start with, not 5. But I did start with 5 just in case I needed that energy. I have submarines here, by the way, and I didn't know what was going on around here. I didn't spot the units. I saw these guys come through, but I don't think I spotted the transport. It just suddenly came round the corner. Can't remember if I see it now or whether it was later. Yeah, there you go. Just randomly appeared, and I was looking there, I think. Unless it was a different time that I caught it. Yeah, I destroyed some of my barracks because I know that they cost money to have around, and I just don't need that many. If I can increase my production in other places, that would be great, right? And right now I'm just trying to build up most of my units in the center. I leave a couple of circles around for vision. I don't want them invading the land without me spotting it as early as possible. So I just start dotting things around. I wanted to try and explore his base, which became a bit of a problem. I did try over here. I missed that because I'm feeding. But yeah, so I sent some units across here, and they tried to go into this location. I failed to destroy it, but it was still worth the attempt. His perspective, he can't see what's going on over here. And my submarines, luckily, were able to reach this one and take it out. I'm starting to build some energy storage, because I know with navies, it's really important to have a lot of energy. And I know the production is never enough to keep up with it, and I don't need it right now, so I can build up a load of energy before I actually need it. Otherwise, I generally don't build the storage. Over here, I've got this command as only commandos, so these units that are coming out now aren't really doing anything. I don't know if I remember that, so needed to get on that. Mistakes were made. So I've got strikers going in now. They are sending straight up through this top of the map, and I think that is when T may have given up. So my strikers are able to take that out for free pretty much, because he hasn't managed to build any anti-air yet. This is also partly why I speeded it up, because I know there isn't any sort of major big battles coming up. Couldn't remember exactly what happened, but I knew he was on this. Well, I didn't know he was on this island though. I didn't know he'd snuck that commando in earlier. So I think T played that amazingly well. He is the hardest opponent I've had that early on against my infantry rush at the beginning, so that was awesome. It's good to have someone that's really hard to fight against when it comes to that, because my infantry rush usually succeeds at the beginning. Most people's don't, apparently. So I just thought I'd make a video about it. Thanks for watching. There are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to comment, share, and subscribe. You know the drill. Thanks for watching. See you around.